or been able to choose her own wedding venue, or floral arrangements, or even the topper on the cake, which, ironically, featured a groom dashing away from a wide-eyed bride clutching the back of his tuxedo collar. Marcus didn't have a chance, and it was all her fault. The music faded into a key change and then struck up a slightly off-tune version of the wedding march. The unmistakable squeaking of bodies rising from time-warped pews filtered through the space leading from the bride's room to the main entrance of the country chapel, sounding suspiciously like the creaking of gallows. And her poor groom didn't have a clue of the noose dangling above him in the form of a white gold wedding band. Allie toed off her shoes, hitched up her skirt, and dug her toes into the carpet. Chapter 1. If wedding dresses could talk, Allie Andrews was fairly certain hers would have a sailor's mouth. 4 months later, to the day, actually, after she'd shucked out of her wedding dress in the back seat of the meant-to-be honeymoon car and gunned it down the highway with nothing but a bottled yoo-hoo and her favorite faded jeans for company, the dress hung on the inside of her closet door, the once small tear in the seam now gaping and taunting her. Every time she opened the closet, that rip reminded her how she'd severed one of the few relationships in her life actually worth keeping, which was precisely why she had to give it away in the first place. Allie grabbed her favorite purple sweater, the one she often wore to work at her antique store since the air conditioner in the quirky old building refused to shut off year-round, and tugged it over her head. She could use all the cozy comfort she could get today at lunch with Hannah. She had put it off long enough. After ditching her best friend's brother at the altar, she'd fully expected Hannah to hold a grudge. Hannah's unconditional love expressed through multiple phone calls and text messages had been almost worse than the cold shoulder. Harder to face than a much-deserved grudge, which was probably why she had been avoiding this meeting. Besides, Hannah looked so much like her brother. Allie's arm brushed against the dress as she adjusted her sweater, and the frothy number swayed on its padded hanger. The swish of the fabric only seemed to whisper more condemnation. With a groan, she shut the closet door harder than necessary. She should just get rid of the thing, but it wouldn't be worth the wrath of her mother, grandmother, and aunt. Yet even though they all threatened her within an inch of her life if she sold the dress or threw it away, not one of them would store it at her own house. It belongs to you now, and will until you wear it. Then you pass it down to your daughter. Right. A daughter? Not at this rate. And zero hope of getting over what she did to Marcus, even if it was for his own good. A knock sounded on her apartment door, and Allie dashed to get it, checking her watch. She needed to leave in less than 10 minutes if she didn't want to be late. And with a long-time friendship already riding on this lunch, she really shouldn't push it by appearing like she didn't care. She pulled the door open. Hannah, looking at once like her best friend and a total stranger in a pink cashmere sweater and skinny jeans tucked into boots. She looked great, like she hadn't lost her best friend or spent the past several months comforting a broken-hearted brother at all. Maybe Allie hadn't mattered all that much to begin with. I was just heading out to meet you. Allie cautiously opened the door wider to allow her friend inside, bracing herself for something. And not just the chill of the January air that rushed to meet her despite the heated hallway. Did I mess up the time? She took a step backward, and the heel of her boot caught on the striped rug under her feet. Maybe Hannah had changed her mind and decided to tell her off privately instead. Maybe she'd realized a polite lunch in public was way more considerate than Allie deserved. I couldn't wait another minute to tell you. Hannah shoved her left ring finger in Allie's face and let out an excited squeal. I'm engaged! She jumped up and down, her curly dark hair bouncing against her shoulders. Engaged. The word twisted in Allie's throat and refused to rise to her lips. That's... What was it? Surprising? Not really. Hannah and Zach had been dating for about 6 months, but she supposed not everyone had to be together for several years before tying the knot. A long courtship hadn't exactly worked out for her and Marcus. I know, right? Hannah pushed past Allie and sank down onto the arm of the overstuffed turquoise chair, exactly as she'd done a million times over the years. As if it were that easy to pick up. Like the past few months hadn't changed everything. Maybe they hadn't.